All right, today we're jumping into something really cool. It's a whole new way of looking at mental performance in sports that goes way beyond just positive thinking. We're talking about the cutting edge neuroscience of what's called the predictive brain.
You've seen it, right? I mean, we all have. A top-tier athlete, someone at the peak of their game, misses the easiest shot or makes a simple mistake at the worst possible moment. You just sit there wondering, what on earth just happened?
Well, it turns out the latest science is telling us this isn't some kind of character flaw or a lack of heart. It's actually a biological system getting totally overwhelmed. And that changes everything. It moves the conversation away from blame and gets us closer to actually understanding the problem. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. For the longest time, we thought the brain was basically reactive. You know, it sees a stimulus, like a baseball flying at you, and then it reacts by telling your body to catch it. But this new view, it flips that completely on its head. The brain isn't just waiting around. It's a full-on prediction machine, constantly guessing what's going to happen next so it can get a major head start. And this whole idea has a name. It's called predictive processing. Your brain is literally running thousands of simulations every single second, creating expectations to get your body ready for action. You know that feeling of being in the zone where everything just flows? Well, that's what happens when your brain's predictions are nailing it. They're perfectly matching reality, and everything feels effortless. But what happens when those predictions are wrong? The opponent you thought would go left suddenly goes right. That mismatch creates something called a prediction error. Now, a few of these are no big deal. The brain just updates and moves on. The problem is when they start to stack up, one after another, really fast. The whole system gets flooded with static, and it gets completely overwhelmed. Your movements get clunky, your decisions get slow, and that feeling of just falling apart, yep, that's the choke. So we have this incredible prediction system running the show. But here's the thing. It's not working in isolation. It's deeply, deeply connected to our inner world. You know, our emotions, our beliefs, and what we think we're capable of. This leads to a really crucial point. Emotions aren't just these automatic things that happen to us. That feeling of anxiety before a huge moment, it's not just the situation causing it. Your brain actually constructs that feeling. It takes the physical sensations, your heart pounding, your palms sweating, and it interprets them based on all your past experiences. This is huge because it means two different athletes in the exact same high-pressure situation can have completely different emotional experiences. So how does all this come together? This matrix gives us a fantastic map. It looks at two things. On one axis, you have your belief about your ability. Do you think it's fixed, or do you believe it can grow? On the other axis is how you interpret your emotions. Are they a threat you need to get rid of, or are they constructive information? Where you fall in this grid basically determines which of four performance patterns you'll end up in. Let's quickly run through them. If you're in the helpless pattern, every mistake just confirms your worst fears, and it's a downward spiral. The stoic athlete tries to just bottle it all up, but those prediction errors are still building under the surface, just waiting to explode. The fragile growth athlete is interesting. They believe they can get better, but they get totally derailed by those threat-based emotions when things get tough. What we're really aiming for is that integrated growth pattern. That's where you can handle the errors and adapt, because you see both your skills and your feelings as opportunities to grow. Okay, that all sounds great, but how do we actually get to that integrated growth pattern? Well, that brings us to a really practical framework called the Mental Performance Support System, or MPSS for short. It's designed specifically to help us stabilize that predictive brain when the pressure is on. The entire system is built on this one simple idea: performance follows regulation. Think about that. You can't just will yourself to perform better, but if you can learn to keep your internal system stable and regulated, high performance becomes possible again, even when things are chaotic. Regulation has to come first. And the MPSS gives you actual tools to do this. For instance, something like a mindfulness reset isn't about emptying your mind. It's more like hitting a pause button on that flood of prediction errors. Or a skill like radical acceptance is about seeing a mistake for what it is, a missed pass, without letting it trigger a whole new cascade of errors. The goal here isn't to make tough feelings go away. It's to give your brain a chance to regroup and get back to business. All of this leads us to a really powerful new way to think about competition itself. It's not a fight, it's not a battle, it's something much more fluid. I want you to picture competition like the swell of the ocean. There are going to be big waves and small waves, moments of calm and moments of pure intensity. You can't control the swell, right? You can't stop the bad calls, the lucky shots from your opponent, or even your own mistakes. But what you can learn to do is stay balanced on your board and navigate those waves as they come. And when you learn how to do that, everything changes. That feeling of pressure, the tight chest, the racing heart, it stops feeling like a giant red alarm bell screaming danger. It just becomes information. It's feedback your brain can use to update its predictions and adjust, which lets you stay in the game, performing right in the middle of it all. Ultimately, this is a total game changer in how we think about performance. It's about learning to work with your brain, to regulate the system instead of fighting against it. If you want to dive deeper into all this stuff, the full mental performance support system manuals are out there on Amazon, and you can find a ton of other resources at flowmpcc.com.